Okay, so welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we are diving into a new psychological thriller, a British film called Reawakening.
Ooh, sounds interesting.
Yeah, and I love a good thriller. And this review that we're looking at today really digs into the story, and it asks a really interesting question.
Oh, okay.
What happens when a family shattered by loss gets a second chance?
Hmm.
Or isn't even a chance at all,
Hmm.
you know?
That's a great question. I mean, right off the bat, that is kind of the core of the mystery, right?
Right.
This whole premise where John and Mary, they lose their daughter Claire like a decade
A
ago.
decade ago, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, someone claiming to be her reappears.
Just shows up.
I mean, talk about turning your world upside down.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about, that whole idea of home.
Yeah.
Like, can you truly go back to a place or a time or even a relationship after so much has changed?
Right. Right. Especially after a loss as profound as that. I mean, the film really seems to be exploring the nature of identity and memory, especially after trauma.
Yeah.
And the thing is, John, who's played by Jared Harris, he's immediately skeptical, right?
Yeah.
He just doesn't believe that this young woman is actually his daughter.
Doesn't buy it at all. And I think that that's what adds, another layer of tension to the story, right?
Totally.
You have the family trying to put the pieces back together after this, horrific loss.
Yeah.
But then you have this suspicion, like this lurking feeling that something just isn't right.
Absolutely. It's like, it's that classic psychological thriller element, right?
Right.
Using doubt to just keep the audience constantly on edge.
Yeah.
But I think in this case, it's particularly effective, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so closely tied to the grief that these characters are experiencing.
Right.
Like, imagine yourself in their position,
Oh my gosh.
You're grappling with the hope of having your child back, but at the same time, you're questioning everything.
Everything you see and hear.
Mm-hmm.
And the review really praises the way the film uses its atmosphere to build that sense of unease. They talk about shadowy visuals,
Oh, wow.
almost like the house itself is holding secrets.
Ooh, spooky.
Right.
Yeah.
And the music apparently just heightens the tension.
Yeah. Yeah. The sound and visuals are so powerful in thrillers.
Oh, for sure.
I think they work on us subconsciously, playing on our fears.
Totally.
Like those classic Hitchcock films. Even a shadow or like a sudden sound cue
Yeah.
can totally freak you out.
Absolutely.
Oh.
And speaking of chills, the review really highlights Jared Harris's performance as John.
Yeah.
They describe it as haunting. I feel like he must really embody that internal struggle.
Yeah.
Trying
Totally.
to figure out what is real.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
And then you have, of course, Erin Doherty playing Claire, the daughter who's come back. And the review describes her as, get this, the enigma of a lost child returned.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what does that even look like?
Yeah, like what kind of performance are we talking about?
Right. Is she playing innocent? Is she manipulative?
It's so intriguing.
Really makes you wonder.
And of course, we can't forget Mary, the mother, who was played by Juliet Stevenson.
Yeah.
The review said she's desperate to believe, which adds another layer to it all, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because is she blinded by hope? Is it denial? Or does she genuinely see something that John doesn't?
I think it really gets at the heart of how we deal with trauma.
Yeah.
Everyone copes differently. Some people cling to hope, others shut down.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
And the way that the film explores all this within a family dynamic,
Yeah.
it's really cool. So it sounds like from this review, Reawakening is going to be a masterclass in psychological suspense.
Yeah.
It's not just about the twists and turns. It's about these deeper questions it raises.
Right. About identity, about family.
And about grief.
Yeah.
Just enduring power of grief.
Definitely sounds like one of those films that stays with you.
Absolutely.
It really makes you think, how well do we know ourselves and those closest to us? And what happens when we can't tell what's real anymore?
Oh, such a good point.
Yeah.
So much to consider. And I think for our listeners, here's something else to think about.
Okay.
You know how they called Claire the enigma of a lost child returned?
Yeah.
It just got me wondering what parts of ourselves are truly fixed and what parts change, over time through experiences. Like if you vanished for years and then suddenly reappeared, would those who knew you best still recognize the person you'd become?
Wow.
You know?
That's a great question.
So much to ponder. Anyway, thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everyone.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.